You take James Robinson's jersey, rip the number and the name off, and put Fournette, and everybody would have treated him as like a top 6 or 7 running back like he was.
We are back. It's the Joe Holka Show presented by Line Movement. Way too early running back rankings. We've already gone through the quarterback position. I say we because Jake Seeley's back with us from The Athletic. Pretty easy number 1 pick, I think, again this year, which we will get to. But Jake, before we get there, man, how you feeling? I know we've knocked out a couple videos today and you're battling through a sickness, but this is the last one, man. We're going to finish strong.
No, it's good. It's being able to talk football still. It gets that you get reinvigorated anyway.
Yeah, it's like this is the time of the year where you kind of like, obviously the Super Bowl hasn't even happened yet and people are already talking about their fantasy drafts for the next year. So it's always an exciting time. It's also like fun to look back at these videos and kind of see what we got completely wrong. There's a ton that can happen, the draft, free agency, all that stuff. So it's all in good fun.
I've said that all the time. Like I'm not going to do the work because it's a lot of work, but I want somebody out there to go through like the Todd McShays and the Mel Kipers and all that, and pull up their draft rankings from like December and then compare them to the ones like coming up next month and then the ones right before the draft and see how big of a difference there is.
Right.
Like, I've always been curious to see, because I know that you see these swing wildly, and I'm not saying this to be like, look at me, but Emery Hunt, who I idolize when it comes to scouting players, I do the same thing. He does the same thing. He gets it out earlier than I do because I have to wait for all the baseball stuff to come through. But this is why I wait and I make one set of NFL draft rankings because I'm going to evaluate the players, and this is going to be my evaluation. Like, what are you changing from December to February to April? Like you just weren't paying attention to something, or you weren't watching film, or you were just guessing, because there's no reason once the offseason of the college football season hits, there's no reason your rankings should change.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. I get the draft and that sort of thing, but like from like what's the difference between doing like a way too early and then doing one like a month from now? Like there's still so much that has to unfold. Obviously, like talking through like a position like running back, it's so volume driven anyways. Like there's going to be a lot of agonizing over the top, but like what it comes down to is even like the back half of the first round, the back half of like your second, third round to try and find these guys. There's going to be duds. There's going to be guys that don't get there. There's going to be injuries, of course. So going through my top 10 right now, I do have Christian McCaffrey, number 1, shocker. Everyone, I'm just going to give you, be the first one that gives you permission to draft Christian McCaffrey, number 1 overall. I do have Dalvin Cook, number 2. Derrick Henry is my number 3, which was a little bit uncomfortable. I have Alvin Kamara at number 4, Saquon directly behind him, Jonathan Taylor at number 6, Austin Ekeler, Zeke at 8, Nick Chubb, and Cam Akers number 10. And let's start with Cam Akers, Jay, because I feel like that's the one you might disagree with me a little bit. I just like the volume that we saw from Cam Akers down the stretch just had me, I guess, maybe a little bit more bullish than I should be. I guess I'm not even like a big like Todd Gurley guy or anything like that, but you see this offense, it's going to have a good defense. So the game script should be there for a guy like this, a guy that was actually pretty active in the passing game down the stretch also. So let's talk about, like, is Cam Akers anywhere near your top 10, or am I just completely off the rails here?
I guess near, in the fact that he's inside my top 15, if that makes you feel good. It's just, So one of the toughest thing looking at my rankings is once I got past my top, I'm looking at mine right now. Let's say after my top 8, I think in my opinion, my top 8 are very clear. It's after that, it's that 9 through 15 range where I can see it going anything. And I'm not even talking about free agency or anything like that. Like, well, the only one that falls into that range is like Aaron Jones, obviously, depending on where he lands. You know this, I've said it time again. I talked about it on the very first show that we did recording for this. And it's the Aaron Jones situation is people think that I hate Aaron Jones, and I don't. I love Aaron Jones. I hate Aaron Jones, the Packer. I hope he's on a different team next year. And I think he could be a top 10 running back if he's on a different, well, again, a more consistent top 10 running back where he doesn't put up 40 points a week 3, and then his next highest game is 17 or something like that. So I want more consistency from Aaron Jones. But when it comes down to this, Cam Akers, my hesitancy was a healthy Darrell Henderson next year. So I think it comes down to, I don't hate it at number 10, and the guys that I have in front of them, you know, if you want to say I want Cam Akers instead of them, I'd say sure, not a problem. Except for one guy that you don't even have inside your top 10, which
your James Robinson guy. Yeah, no, let me tie a bow on Cam Akers.
You talk about volume.
Well, yeah, let's talk about volume for a second. Cam Akers, 24.8 touches over their last 5 per game. That's including the playoffs. Like, he's had some explosions, and he was using the passing game. I understand it. Darrell Henderson could take away from that, but it's also possible that he ends up being a bell cow in this offense. I guess, to your point, who's already a bell cow, is Robinson. I just struggle, like... It's the same thing with James Robinson, man. Like, how many touchdowns is this team going to score? I get that they can take a huge step here this coming year. And it's not that I'm super down on him. He's number 11. It's not like I have him completely off the board or anything like that. I have Cam Akers 10. I have James Robinson at 11. Aaron Jones is at 12 if I was to completely go through that. You just have Robinson and Aaron Jones just inside your top 10 right now. So, okay, I'll let you spout off about James Robinson. It sounds like that's where I'm wrong.
Well, that's what you just said. Is like Cam Akers could be that next year.
Sure.
Like, I understand if we got the end of the year. So I will say this: if you guaranteed me today the Cam Akers at the end of the season was going to be Cam Akers next year, absolutely sign on.
I would take top 6, 7 pick at that point for sure.
Right. I'm still concerned about Sean McVay. I'm still concerned about the usage, and it's not even take Jared Goff out of the equation. If he's going to be the 80% bell cow, I will take the running back. You switch their teams. You put Cam Akers on the Jaguars, and it just hit my. You put Cam Akers on the Jaguars and James Robinson on the Rams, and everybody's talking about the same thing, 5 or 6. But James Robinson is the bell cow. James Robinson doesn't come off the field for passing downs, and there's that Trevor Lawrence guy who's going to be their quarterback next year, which is a huge difference maker. Yeah, so I'm going to take James Robinson because he's already done it. And in fact, I referenced the way too early mock that we already did in the middle of December. I was on the 12 turn, so I had the last pick of the first round, the first pick in the second round. I took James Robinson and Jonathan Taylor, which I don't think Jonathan Taylor falls that far anymore because this is middle of December. I don't think he's falling to the end of the first round.
Yeah.
But I put James Robinson in the first round with the final pick just to slap some respect on that name, because this is what I said earlier this year. And I might even have said it to you. I know I said it to Pat at one point. You take James Robinson's jersey, rip the number and the name off, and put Fournette, and everybody would have treated him as like a top 6 or 7 running back like he was.
It's true. It's true. And I was like the guy that like has said multiple times on this same show that I didn't play him enough in DFS. Like, he's an easy guy to skip right over. So maybe I'm doing it. Maybe I'm doing it again. Another guy that I can already feel myself.
The money he made me.
Yeah. You played him a ton, man. And which is upsetting because
they wouldn't even put his price over 7,000.
Well, how much did I play Leonard Fournette the year before? And then I was just completely out on like the Jacksonville Jaguars situation at running back, which was like, I don't know, maybe that was bad. A guy that I know that I'm going to be probably higher on than the field is going to be Austin Ekeler, man. Like, I understand that like he wasn't right last year, didn't play most of the season, but like we've seen the elite passing game usage, and we'll get to Kamara in a second versus Derrick Henry, but like kind of past that tier for me, Austin Ekeler kind of right sandwiched in between Jonathan Taylor and Zeke right now. I think that Austin Ekeler still has a long way to go in terms of his upside. There's always going to be some situation. Can he stay healthy? I get it. But if he gives us 16 games in 2021, I think he could be like a 100 catch guy. I really do. Do you disagree with that?
I would say 100. I'd probably put in like the 80, the 83, 84 range, like Kamara was getting year after year, which, that's not 15 to 20 off. But when it comes down to Ekeler is my concern. Oh my God, my leg's cramping up. Hold on. I got to lean back. This is what happens when this is why I've been drinking so much. I need to get the fluids back in my body from being sick.
Well, Austin Ekeler is just like
hamstring cramp. I need somebody. Can you come over and do that thing like on the sidelines? No, Austin Ekeler. Yeah, speaking of cramps, Austin Ekeler. Look, I don't dislike Ekeler. It just comes down to the bell cow status, and it comes down to, yes, if this team is behind, there's no concern about it. But does Joshua Kelly get more work next year? He didn't look great, but they still aren't done with him. Justin Jackson still aren't done with him. I think that I'm not even including the injury concern, but I think the argument of this team would be, let's think about that injury concern. Let's treat him like Aaron Jones. This is what it comes down to. Where you have him at 7, Austin Ekeler probably finishes there, if not a little bit higher, similar to Aaron Jones.
Sure.
The reason I would have him behind some of those other guys is because the week-to-week consistency. And that's what it comes down to. Like, I can see Austin Ekeler finishing 7, but I could see James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and some of these other guys having the better week-to-week where they're scoring 15 to 20 every single week. Austin Ekeler gets you 30, gets you 8, gets you 25, 13, and he's kind of more like that. So I don't hate it. I love Austin Ekeler, but I think that's really what it comes down to. And that's why I'm going to be backing on Zeke. I think I'm going to have a lot of Zeke next year.
That's the one I'm struggling with a little bit. But let's move up a tier, because I think an interesting convo I think that most people are going to be talking through here shortly is what to do with Derrick Henry, right? There's going to be the Derrick Henry truthers that are going to put him right there with McCaffrey, and then there's going to be people like you and me that are always concerned about the pass game involvement, but he just breaks everything that I care about, right? It just doesn't matter. So I do have Dalvin Cook ahead of him. I do have Christian McCaffrey ahead of him, but I do have Derrick Henry ahead of Alvin Kamara as of now, because I'm a little bit worried about Kamara's usage in the pass game. If we have no Drew Brees, maybe it's Taysom Hill, maybe it's Jameis Winston. I don't know if he's going to be that guy that just racks up the amount of catching volume that he has in the past. So at that point, like, Derrick Henry just seems like safer in some ways. I mean, like, back-to-back rushing yards leader. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely just blinded by the Derrick Henry thing. I don't know what to do with them. What do we do with Derrick Henry versus these other pass catchers?
You draft the other ones and then you trade for Derrick Henry in October before he starts to hit that stretch.
That's the
play. So really what it comes down to, Derrick Henry. So there's a couple questions we have in this range too. Like, go back to Austin Ekeler again. No more Anthony Lynn. Like, we also don't know. Maybe the new coaching staff doesn't even want to treat him as a 60% of the workload. What is that you brought it up? What does this offense look with like no Drew Brees? Taysom Hill, the first 2 games was killing Kamara. And then things were fine. What if Jameis Winston comes in, and what if Jameis Winston just doesn't ever want to throw to the backfield, similar to like Cam Newton? So there's a lot of questions. If you want to take Henry before Kamara, I have no problem with it. Kamara's home stretch is going to make a lot of people want to still take Kamara. I have him flipped, and I would still take Saquon Barkley, mostly because on a pure talent basis, if you told me top 3 talents in the NFL, it would be Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Saquon Barkley, and then Kamara and Henry on another tier. But that's really what it comes down to. Is I don't care if you go a different direction on this one, but this is one of those ones where why I'd rather have the 5th or 6th pick than the 3rd pick. I don't want to be the one to take the first of this group.
I'm with you. I think there's probably a tier drop after the top 5, maybe. Like, I think Jonathan Taylor, like, we got to see what happens with their quarterback situation before he's going to approach that. I know he had a great, finish to the season. Nick Chubb, I mean, it's kind of like the Derrick Henry light that, like, yeah, maybe he's that guy that could kind of get there on volume alone on the ground and a good offense.
They're just going to keep bringing in these 30-year-old veteran quarterbacks.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know.
So a lot of people are saying the Carson Wentz, but I go back to the Carson. I can't say. I'll happily say I was wrong on it. I just can't see the Eagles eating that much money in a trade. So, but I agree with you. I think that if you talk like even the Ezekiel Elliott, where I'm willing to go back on it because I keep bringing up the fact of the Dak Prescott healthy games, 15, 20 points, and he was out there every single. And funny enough, his 200-yard games came later in the season without Dak. And one of those games was when we were talking about he wasn't looking healthy, and then he got that week off and came back and looked healthy, looked like Zeke. So what I will say is, though, next year, even though I'm back in on him, I would still have him in this tier with Taylor and Chubb and even Robinson, Akers, and all these other guys, because I think he deserves to be there now. He's not in that top 4 or 5 discussion we were having this past season.
Love it. That's our way too early running back rankings. Jake is definitely probably on the sharper side of some of this stuff, so check out his rankings over at The Athletic. We'll continue going through our positions. Let me know in the comments where you have Derrick Henry ranked going to the 21-22 NFL season. Toss a like on this video. And Cam Akers. Yeah, those are our big ones. So good stuff, Jake. Appreciate you. Make sure everyone follows Jake on Twitter at AllInKid, and we will see you guys on the next one.